What's up, everyone? It is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and it's time for us to get into this old school versus new school situation, or I guess battle, if you will. So I got these three palettes that I did swatches on with y'all and told y'all I felt like they looked really similar. So I figured we go ahead and compare all of them today. So we're going to compare. We're gonna do a look with the Raspberry Kisses from Sydney Grace up against the Mothership 11 Sunlit Seduction. Then we're gonna do a look with it up against the Natasha Denona Retro palette. And then I got two eye looks that I did on Instagram that you all well, one of you seen, one of you haven't seen yet, and I'm going to do a look with those. So I'm going to have my work cut out for me and a whole bunch of eyeshadow brushes to use. But let's zoom in real quick. And you like, I'm actually doing a battle on my face right now. I have on the new Fenty foundation, so blur stick, so you can tell me what you think of it. Then I have on two different cream bronzers. I have on two different setting sprays, so obviously you can't tell me about that. Although you can tell me which side you think looks blurred, this side or this side. And then I got on, what else? I think that's it, but isn't that enough, honey? Anyway, back to this. So I did an eye look on Instagram that I'm hoping that I can possibly recreate. The only thing is I paired it with another palette, so I'm gonna have to take some of the steps out. But you all seem to really like the picture. I'm trying to find it, sorry. This one. This is where I used the Mothership 11. And then I have on the Patrick Tile blush, the really red one. So I came up with this eye look using the Mothership 11, the new one, and then I used the Mothership, I think I used the original Mothership Divine Rose, that one. So I want to recreate that look using both of these palettes, but I'm like, I can't do it exactly because, you know, I don't have certain shades from the Mothership Divine Rose that I can use in it. But I'm still going to do something similar because I feel like the palettes just look too similar for us to not try it out and see, especially because Mother's palettes are $128. Now I did catch mine on sale with 30% off thanks 30 code, so I didn't, you know, pay full price for it. I paid $90 something even with shipping and taxes. Well, sorry, shipping was free, but with taxes. So, you know, there's that. But I'm gonna go off camera and recreate that look. Then I'm gonna swatch on my hands to see which one. Well, I'm gonna go off camera and do some swatches to see which colors we can pair together, and then I guess I'll come back on camera and we'll do it together, since you have not seen me use this palette on my eyes at all. So I'll be right back. Okay, girl? Okay. Okay, y'all, so here are the shades. I took the second brown shade that they sent me in Sydney Grace. Remember, they sent me 2 free singles, so I took that shade, this one right here, and voila, to use because it matched better with the Pat McGrath shade. So that's it right here. This shade came from inside the palette. It's called Trust, and then this is the deepest brown in the Pat McGrath palette that will work as a transition shade. This is Voila, and then this is the dark burgundy shade in the Pat McGrath palette. This is the shade Shine Bright from Sydney Grace, and then this is the dark mauve-ish purple shade in Mother's palette. This is the shade Role Model, and of course this is the burgundy shimmery shade because y'all know I had to use it. So that's what we're gonna put these two against today and see how they work out. I'm dying because I know I'm going to have to wash a whole bunch of brushes, and I already have to wash a whole bunch of brushes because I didn't wash brushes from last week when I did whatever eye look I did. So I'm just over here dying. Like, the amount of brushes I have to wash is making me sad. And as usual, I did not have my brushes prepared for this eye look. I don't think I picked the crease shade, actually. No, I just picked the transition shade out of each shade, inner corner shade and mid shade. So I guess that saves me 2 brushes there because I don't have to worry about that. Yay. But let's get into it. So I'm starting with the shade Trust. That's the one that we're using for our transition shade with Sydney. So I'm going to just put it over here. I feel like it's giving quite the reddish undertone to it. I mean, it looks red in the pan, but as you saw when you swatched it out, it didn't. Well, I guess it kind of looked red. To me, it didn't look as red as it is right now while I'm putting it on. So that's interesting, but that's fine. You know, we're just trying to compare and see if you can get similar looks with the palette, because we all know Mother's price point is high, and since she's given us so many colors like this before, we get annoyed. So I'm trying to help you save some coins because the Sydney Grace one's going to be more affordable, and then you can use code Fancy Face. I think that's her code, the Fancy Face, or Fancy Face, or you can use code Cage Makeup and gives you a discount. So I'm just trying to blend this shade out and see what we're working with, how we're working with, and what's going on. Oh, those colorful swatches were in the front of my hand. Those were the highlighter and blush I used on my face today from the Blend Bunny highlighter palette. Now, it was actually supposed to be a highlighter, but I just used it as like a shimmery blush because I was like, it's here, we're here, everyone's here, and I can't. So now we're going to go into Pat McGrath palette. So I'm using this shade right here in the Pat McGrath palette, and I used this shade right here in the City Grace palette. So, dipping some other palette now. So, I feel like this is giving a deeper, like orangish, brownish shade, but they look somewhat similar on the eye, so I guess that's good. They both look nice and smooth. Build this up a little bit more the way I did with the Sydney Grace one. I feel like Mother's just looks blown out and looks like it has been blended smoother. Just looking in the mirror. Yeah, so far this we'll be working with them. They look pretty similar in my eyes so far. So far so good. Okay. Now we're gonna go into City Gray shade, voila. And put that on the outer V. Weird thing is I feel like it's not looking as deep when I'm blending it out on the outer V, but when I swatched it, it was like really deep. That's why I'm confused, because I'm like, when you swatch it, it's really deep, but you see putting it on the eye now, it's not doing any of that. So I'm like, huh. So I'm wondering if I have to build it up with the darker shade that's in the palette already called Keep Smiling, because this one, although it swatches the same, it's not giving the same on the outer V, and I know Mother's is going to be darker than this, so it's like, I can't do much of that. So I'm going to have to dip into Keep Smiling, which I didn't want to do because it's more on the cooler, darker side, and I felt like it wasn't going to match as well with that one, which is why I want to use Voila as opposed to this one. Because see how much darker that is and how it's kind of pulling cool, it's not going to match as well. But since Voila let us down, even though it's swatched nice, I kind of just gotta mix it. Maybe I'll put more of Voila on top of it now that I have that deepness to it, and hopefully that'll help. I don't know. But Sydney is letting me down. She letting me down. Because now it's getting cool and it's not going to pull with the rest of the palette. It's called Sunlit for a reason. It's not getting cool. It's getting warm. Like, this would have been fine if I was putting up against the Moonlit Seduction, because Moonlit has a shade similar to this. Of course, it's deeper, but you know, it's giving. Okay, so I've done what I came with that. I'm just going with the brush we started off with and dust around, but I'm already a little disappointed just because the shade swatch is deeper than it actually goes on your eyes. So, anyway, let's get into Pat McGrath's now. I'm taking this dark burgundy shade right here. This is what I was telling y'all about, that it matched on the outer V when I swatched it, but now that we actually put it on my eye, it's not matching at all. Let's go with this. Look how deep and gorgeous and dark that is. I feel like I just dipped into it and I'm not even gonna have to go back in. Knowing me, I will just like, you know, amplify it quite a bit, but it is matching it a little bit better than I expected it to, but it's still not. I don't know. I just feel like the Pat McGrath one is giving more depth. You see, this one just looks kind of like mid-tone, but it's like you can see that this was meant to be a smoky eye, and it's giving me all the depth because that's what Mother is giving. I'm gonna try to build up a little bit more of the cool tone shade just to give it a fair shot. But right now, like when it comes to like the outer V, Mother is definitely kicking Sydney's behind because it's not doing what I want it to do at all. And as you can see, Mother is just quite pigmented and just there. But we're gonna give Sydney a chance to get herself together here. So I'm gonna keep smiling over here some more. And kind of try to like build it up. Get the depth I want, because even though it's not gonna be the color I want to match with, but I want it to at least be able to have the same or a decent amount of depth. Okay, so there it is. It's still a little too soft for my liking. I don't know if it's because of the shadows or what, but it's a little too soft for me. She's a little too soft. I need some more pigmentation to go with the smoke. She's reading too soft. And it's like I don't want to have to sit here for like 20 minutes and pack it on just to get like the impactful smokiness. I feel like I'm getting there. And it's not that it's not smoky, it's just soft smoky. And I don't want soft smoky, I want bold smoky. So I want more smoke like this, not like this soft smoke that it's giving. So go back in with Mother's brush, that's around. Okay, so since we don't have an inner corner shade, let's just get the glitter glue, and then we can start on these lid shades. Now I don't expect the lid shades to be the same because Sydney Grace is more of that, you know, metallic type vibe, whereas Mother is like, she giving you the glitter, the sparkle, and everything. But I mean, like, with the price she charges, she needs to be giving you a whole lot more. So I can understand why she does all that because of her price point. But I like the metallic colors that Sydney Grace shows for its palette. The rest I wouldn't have bought this palette. It's just a question of, you know, who's gonna give what I want all over the lid. And you can want different things at different times for different reasons. And I feel like this is gonna be one of them situations too, where like I'm gonna like the Sydney Grace one because it's metallic and gorgeous, but it's like I want to put something like on top of it to get the extra sparkle because it's just giving metallic and not sparkle. But let's go in with the shade Role Model. See, it's a gorgeous shade. Like, look at how metallic and beautiful that is. I feel like it's giving like a raspberry dark chocolate eye, which probably explains why it's called Raspberry Kisses. Or Raspberry Kiss. I don't remember if it's Kiss or Kisses. And since the palette's turned towards you all, I can't look at it right this second. I couldn't tell you. So yeah, the shimmer is definitely what's saving this look for me right now, because I was just kind of like, like it was not giving. I was not living. It was just, But yeah, so the shimmer is saving this look. It really is. I'm gonna go back in with Keep Smiling, just around the outer V to smoke it back up a little bit there. Then I need to go get a battery, and while I go get the battery, I will cut the side from Mother off camera, and then I will come back and we'll just put on the lid, put our inner corner in, and then talk about our thoughts and how I feel about each palette. Although I've been kind of talking through so that way it wouldn't last as long, because I knew I wasn't going to edit it to where you wouldn't have to see me do the whole eye look. That's why I normally talk throughout like the video, because I'm like, I know I'm not going to pause to edit any of this. So if I tell them throughout the video at the end, I can just be like, well, you heard my thoughts, blah blah blah, have a good night. But focus please. Okay, be right back. Okay y'all, so glitter glue is on. Let's get into this gorgeous shade right here. Like, it's definitely one of the shades that like caught my eye and made me excited about this palette, because I was like, honey, as you can see, it's been dug in quite a bit because I have used this palette like a couple of times this week. So look at that. Like, I love the whole glittery aspect and sparkle that She always adds to the shades at the end. That's why I'm just like, yes. I need more Bliss Astral Quads for holiday. Like her and these mega motherships are cute, but like where are the Astral Quads? The Astral Blitz Quads. I need more of those. I mean, look at how this is amplified on the eye, y'all. I can't. Look how amazing this looks. I just can't. So stunning. And I feel like if you built it up on the lid a lot, you'd get even more sparkle and stuff. I'm not gonna do too much, just because I know I gotta take this right off, go outside and take pictures, and then go on to the next look, because we gotta compare this against the retro palette as well as far as eye looks. So I'm just squeezing both into this video to get it done. But honey, I mean, look at that lid. If you love sparkle and glitter the way I do, you love this lid. And I love this lid. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back into the back part again, just some kind of. And then we're going to just dust around a little bit there. Can you focus, please? Focus. Thank you. I wasn't doing that the whole time. Okay, let's go into our inner corner shades, and then we'll talk about my thoughts, girl. Because as usual, I have thoughts. The Shine Bright is the shade we're using, the more mauve-ish toned one from Sydney Grace. So that my inner corner real quick. Just giving them more satin frosty-esque effect in the inner corner, but it looks nice. Don't see anything wrong with it, it's nice. Now I'm gonna take the deeper, more glittery mauve tone shade in the Mothership one, so I'm taking this one right here. I don't feel like going through the box and looking for all the names. That's the only thing I will say isn't exciting about Mother's palette. Like, you gotta go in the box to find out the name, so that's why I just pick up the palette like, here, this is what we're using. Don't be asking me names. I don't know. So this is actually even more of a subtle inner corner, whereas this one's giving more a beaming inner corner, so that's interesting. But I feel like if it had this color as a base underneath it, that it would give more impact to that shade. But that is the eye look. Let me back you on up and talk about my thoughts about each one of these palettes. Even though I feel like you got a good idea about how I feel. Like I said, I talked about the video on purpose because y'all know I don't be editing it down like I should. And cutting out the parts where it's just dead air of me putting on the eyeshadow, because you need to watch that long. But you know, yeah. So I like each palette for different reasons. For example, I like the metallics that are in the Raspberry Kiss palette from Sydney Grace. I think they're really nice. They have nice metallic shades. Their mattes will really work really nice too. My only disappointment was the shade Voila, this one right here, because y'all saw how it swatched on my hand, but then when I went to go put it on the eye, I was like, where's that color? That color's nowhere to be found. Where is she? Is she far? Did she go on vacation after, you know, like, she got my hopes up? Where did she go? Because this outer V is definitely not giving the way the Pat McGrath one is. And since y'all know I live for smoky eye when it comes to doing my eye looks the majority of the time, the fact that she's not bringing the smoke, even like the deepest shade, I feel like it's giving more like of a satinish type feel to it, and it didn't build up that well, or didn't build up to what my expectations were. I'm kind of disappointed in the mattes as far as pigmentation go, at least for the smokiness of the look. But the metallics were really nice. The ones that are more neutral tone, that when it's at the crease that I would have to use, this crease shades work nice. It was just the darkest shade wasn't dark enough for my liking, so that's the disappointment of this palette when it comes to me. But otherwise it's fine. Whereas on this side, Pat McGrath really didn't disappoint me at all, other than the inner corner shade not being as bright as I was hoping. But then again, like I said, I feel like if I put it on top of Shine Bright, the one that we put in the other inner corner, which I'm going to do right now on my hand just to see if my theory is correct, I feel like it would give more of what I was expecting it to give. So that was the only shade that, like, honestly, it disappointed me. Otherwise, it was, you know, okay. So yeah, this is Shine Bright with the other shade on the inner corner, and these are the two highlighters on my face. So I use this as a blush and I use this as the highlighter. They are from the face highlighter palette from Blend Bunny that went 50% off recently. So yeah, if I had to pick an eye, of course we know I'm gonna pick Mother just because it's giving me more of that smoky, intense look that I was looking for, whereas the Sydney Grace one is just kind of subtle and like, I don't know if it's supposed to be a satin matte, but it's not building up to my liking. But otherwise, I'd say the palette's fine. If you want a softer, smoky eye, then I feel with these same tones, then I would say go ahead and get this palette. But if you're not interested in that and you want all the extraness that is Pat McGrath, and I would say you have to go with the Pat McGrath, because this one isn't giving. But now we're gonna put each one of them up against, we're gonna put that one against Natasha Denona and see how that goes. Now I did add this pink sparkly shade here, so of course I won't be using that because it's not fair to use it if it wasn't originally in the palette. But everything else up in here, we're gonna try out. So here's what they look like side by side. I'm gonna go off camera, swatch some of those shades and figure out what we're gonna do with that. Then I'll come back with that eye, and then we'll talk about if you already have the, the retro palette, if you should get this Mothership palette, if you should just wait for it to go on sale and get it if you truly want it. I'll be right back. Okay, girl? Okay, so my lip ain't gonna match with this eye, but you know, that's okay, whatever. It's not that big deal. I'll change the lip when I go for the pictures. We don't have to change it just for the video. But this is what we're working with. So this is from the Natasha Denona palette. This is the shade Amara. And then y'all know this is Pat McGrath. This is the shade Go Go. And this is the pink from the Pat McGrath. This is the shade Glitz. And then this is that pink from the Pat McGrath palette. This is the shade Patty. And then this is the bronze shade from the Pat McGrath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Patty and the bronze shades toward the back of the eye. Then we're going to put Glitz and the shade from Pat McGrath toward the front of the eye. These are our two crease shades. Of course, those are out of V shades because those are the darkest ones in both palettes that I have to work with. Well, not in both palettes, but that's the darkest one in the Pat McGrath palette, which is the one we're focusing on. So that's what I'm rolling with. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to start off with that shade Go Go from Natasha. And I already prepped primed my eyes to save us some time. So I'm liking the fact that I can use the mauve tones in this one. That's what I felt like I was missing from the Sydney Grace palette, because I'm like, I can't do a mauve look with the Sydney Grace palette. So I'm trying to catch up and get a few more perfume videos up for y'all, because I did film like a couple more, but for some reason they haven't been going up for the summer like they're supposed to. Like I did one on Kayali, but obviously, you know, the Kayali one hasn't gone up yet. I thought I had uploaded it, but I don't see it like anywhere in my videos, and they done came up with a whole new set of fragrances that I didn't have in it. So just bear that in mind when you do see that video. Like I made that like 3-4 months ago, but the makeup came before that, so that's why I didn't necessarily put it up yet. Yeah, I definitely feel like this needs more of a pinky nudie lip, so I'll do that once I get done with this eye. But I'm loving this color and this pink moment. You know, this pink moment is giving and I'm living. You know, she's cute. Now we're gonna go to the pink shade from Mother and put that on the eye. So y'all don't know what's going on with my batteries. They all be trying to like down me the quickest. I'm glad this one didn't, but I literally just changed it, so it shouldn't be dying, because this is only like, I want to say the second video I filmed with it. So hopefully like it fully, the other one fully charges, because I have an extra one I leave in here, but I don't have it in here right now because it's charging in the bathroom. Or at least I think it is. I might have supposed to bring it back in here, just didn't get a chance to because I was trying to wipe the lipstick swatches off, because I did a video talking about my favorite red lipsticks and the different formulas and the price points and all that. So I was trying to help new people get into makeup to pick a nice universal red that works nicely for their skin tone, because red, y'all know, is a universal lip color that actually works nicely on just about everybody. As you can see, the Pat McGrath one is a little bit deeper, so I'm going to see if I can build up this one just a little bit more, because I feel like it's definitely giving more reddish, plummy-ish pink vibes, whereas I feel like this one is giving more soft, mauve-ish pink. Not that that's a bad thing. I like each color for different reasons. Y'all know the drill. I like each thing in my collection for a different reason. So there's that. Now we're going to go into the shade Amara. I'm going to use the same brush I used for the Sydney Grace one, but as you can see, I turned it the other way, so the color shouldn't be affected too much. But this one actually oxidizes down and matches that tone, whereas the Sydney Grace one, as y'all know earlier in the video that you watched, it did not match up the way I was hoping. I was kind of disappointed in that. And I feel like this Pat McGrath one is giving more pigmentation as well, just off the bat, that, you know, it's not getting from the Sydney Grace. But again, both of these are higher price palettes, so I feel like it should be giving us more. Like, and plus I feel like both of these artists are really known for like doing smoky eyes on runways and just red carpets and things of that nature, so that might be why theirs is, you know, working more for what I want, because that's the type of makeup they're used to doing in their line of work. I'm just taking the one that has the mauve tone shade. I'll take a little bit more go-go and just dust it toward the back and underneath to kind of get more of a vibe. But yeah, I'm mad Rihanna didn't bring out the pink velvet lipstick to Sephora yet. I'm like, look, Miss Rihanna, I need this lipstick. Now we're gonna go into the shade from Pat McGrath, that darker burgundy shade y'all saw at the beginning. I felt like I didn't need to show it again because, you know, this is our second eye look with the same palette that we edited together, so I didn't feel the need to do that. Again, I feel like Mother's is just a tad bit more pigmented than Natasha's, but Natasha's giving us way more than the Sydney Grace one did. So I'm liking that. At least both of them are giving a decent smoky eye. But again, like I said, both of them do that for a living, so that may be why, you know, both of them are more pigmented when it comes to the smoke, because y'all know Mother be having her videos up and she always showing somebody the smoky eye. So this is like a more softer smoky eye, and this is more like a bold, bam in your face, pigmented smoky eye, which is what I like. Because I feel like the Sydney Grace was even lighter pigmented than this. I don't know, you can comment down below and tell me if you see it differently, but this one is still softer than what I would like. Especially for the price she charges, I feel like it should just be giving me more than it's giving. So, but if you look, again, if you like soft looks, then I feel like it's something you would like. Okay, let's get our glitter glue, girls, and then let us get into these shimmers on the lid. So remember, we're doing 2 shimmers. Both of them seem like they're kind of satin starting off the back though, and I kind of wanted to give y'all a little more than one shimmer effect, so we can use a good majority of the shimmers in this video. And y'all know Mother got like 4 standard ones, so we used the red one. Now we're gonna use a brown one. Well, she has 4 special shimmers, so we're gonna use 2 of the 4 special shimmers, and then we're gonna use, you know, a satiny one, which I'm not necessarily crazy about, but you know, it's in here, we're here, everyone's here, you know the drill. So we're just gonna put it on our eyeball and see how it goes. So I'm taking the shade Patty now. We're gonna start with Patty at the back of the eye. That's the more bronzy looking shade. I'm trying to pack it on and see how it goes. I hope y'all can hear Adriangameover in the background snoring, because he's definitely snoring. My apologies if you can't. Apparently he thinks he's supposed to live in my room instead of his own. I don't know why, but you know, whatever. Okay, y'all know the drill. We gotta go back in with Mar and build back up that outer V. And this brown shade is definitely not doing it for me. I'm like, maybe I should spray the brush and then put it on, because right now she's just really disappointing and boring. I'm like, hopefully if I spray the brush, it'll give more like a wet metallic look, because right now she's just here, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that's nice. So it's still not giving As much as I was hoping it did a little bit better when I sprayed, but that wasn't too much of anything. So, okay then. Let's get the glue going on the other side so we can see how Pat McGrath does. Because hers looks a little bit bland too. Kind of like on the boring side. Not the front, so. But I think honestly it just comes down to these aren't the type of shades I usually like to use anyway. I'm just doing them for comparison purposes, so that might be why I'm not going to be excited about either one of these colors, because they're not colors that I gravitate toward or genuinely like to use. So you have to keep that in mind too. It's not so much I'm trying to shade everybody, it's just more of like, a lot of these shades aren't shades I normally use. Now I make these palettes work with all the fun shades all throughout all the motherships to give the type of look that I want, but I wouldn't just, you know, like automatically just use one of these on its own. That's all in a rush. I don't really need to do a look just because the colors aren't necessarily giving what I like. So I'm taking this bronze shade right here, and then we're going to take this shade right here toward the lid in the inner corner. Let's get into this bronze shade. And I feel like this is going to match my, yeah, this one matches my skin tone pretty well. It actually looks really similar to the Natasha one, but when you swatch them, I feel like this one blends into my skin tone better. So it's interesting to see them both on the lid looking really similar. When you swatch them, they don't look similar. That's weird. I still feel like it gives more vibrancy off the bat. Like y'all know I had to spray the Natasha to make it look like this, whereas I feel like the Pat McGrath just looks like this off the bat. So now I kind of want to spray the Pat McGrath and see if it's going to give even more when being sprayed than, you know, this one is giving. So let's see. I just put one spray. I didn't spray it twice. So I felt like once should be enough. So that's what we're doing. I feel like it's giving a little bit more wet foil look than it did when I initially put it on, but not a super huge difference in my personal opinion. And y'all know I'm just taking the out of V shade and rubbing it around the edges of the palette. I mean around the shimmers, just to, you know, blend it in better. So Popeyes says we're giving away free chicken sandwiches today according to Adriangameover. He was like, you have to go on the app and like order it and then go pick it up in store. So when we leave here, he's trying to get me to go to Popeyes and pick him up a chicken sandwich, and I'm just like, oh. I feel like it's just gonna be a madhouse trying to go get this chicken sandwich. I'm not looking forward to it. So I'm secretly over here like, can I just film forever and not have to do this chicken sandwich situation? Because y'all know when them chicken sandwiches first came out, people was running to each other at drive-thrus and all, doing all other type of crazy stuff just to get a chicken sandwich. I'm like, it's not that deep, it's a chicken sandwich. Now we're gonna go into shade Glitz, and I'm probably just gonna wrap this in the inner corner too, because I didn't pick out an inner corner shade and I can't be bothered with picking one now. So take the shade Glitz and just go and blend both these together nicely, and it does make a nice little blend. I like the different tones of sparkles in the shade Glitz, which is why I wanted to pick it against the shade I picked from Mother, because they both have interesting different shifts. Now Mother's I feel like it's going to be more impactful and interesting on the lid than Natasha's is giving right now, but it's because Mother's has a colorful base, in my personal opinion, is why it's going to give more of a reflect. If Natasha's had a little bit more of a pigmented base in it, I feel like it would work out better as well, but it's, you know, it doesn't, so I can't very well, you know, do that. But, you know, it looks cute or whatever. It's kind of giving me like Divine Rose thoughts. Like I feel like this is a look that you could get out of the Divine Rose palette. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that's what it's getting when I'm looking at it. Like, yeah, you're giving Divine Rose a lot. Anyway, we are done with this palette now. I told y'all we was gonna go into this shade now for the lid for Mother, so that's what we about to do. So I'm just slip the brush over, because I can't be bothered with having to wash many brushes. I didn't wash the brushes from last week and came to the eyes. Thank goodness I only did one eyelid, but that means I got more to do. And then I'm thinking about just doing a look with the Pat McGrath palette on its own as another video. and then it could be considered a review video as opposed to a first impressions, but this is kind of going to be the first impression, in addition to the swatches I did with the whole video dedicated to swatches, because I didn't have time to actually film a eye video when I got the palette in. Mother always wants to send mine later than everyone else's. I ordered at the same time everybody else did when it got launched early in limited quantities, but mine didn't come late until later like everybody else. I mean after everybody else's, so I was just like, thank you, Mother, for that. Okay, so the inner corner is definitely giving a whole bunch of sparkling, what I like, but you know, I'm not surprised. I like the pigmentation of that shade better just because I feel like it gives more sparkle and dimension to the inner corner, whereas I feel like the Natasha Denona one falls a little bit flat. But we're going to take Glitz now and put it in my inner corner. I don't know. I think it's just, I know nobody's going to give me the sparkle that Mother is going to give me in my palettes, and it's just not, you know what I'm saying? It's not, I feel like that's why I'm just kind of feeling the way I'm feeling about everything else, but I'm like, it's not, you're not giving the Natasha Denona special, the Pat McGrath special shades, and it's like, because you're not, I'm just like, yeah, you're not going to compare to Mother if you're not going to get these special sparkles that I'm putting on my eyes right now that I'm talking about. I'm like, it's just not giving enough for me. So here are both of the eyes finished. Back on up and talk about my thoughts on this one, and then we'll talk about if I think either one of these is worth an alternative if you already have it in your collection. So, as you all heard, I liked the Natasha Denona, but I still like my Pat McGrath more because, you know, I just love Pat McGrath. I feel like all the smoky eyes I did comparing to the Pat McGrath ones, everybody's mattes were always more subtle than the Pat McGrath ones, and I feel like that's what my issue is with all of them. It's like they look nice and they have similar shades, and if you want a softer version of the Pat McGrath one, then I feel like all the alternatives that I showed will be better for you, because it's not like you're not giving similar eye effects. Like, I feel like both these eyes look similar. They're not exact, but they're similar enough to where if you don't care about it being truly, you know, like really smoky, bold, pigmented on the outer V, then you'd be fine with having the Raspberry Kiss because it has nice metallic shades, and then it did match some of the tones in Mother. And if you already have the retro palette, you might not want this unless you're truly obsessed with that burgundy shade and the special shades that Mother gives in her palettes, because to me that's what makes her palette above the other two that I showed you all today. So if you don't necessarily care about having the special shades and all the glittery extra sparkleness, and you just want more of everyday palettes, I feel like you would go for the Natasha Denona. If you already have it, don't worry about Pat McGrath, and you'd go for the Raspberry Kiss if you don't want to spend Natasha Denona prices, but you still want a similar color story to hers and Pat McGrath's. But if you like me and want the special shades, and you know that's what makes Mother's palettes truly unique and special, then I would say get the Pat McGrath one. So it just all depends on what you want to have as far as in your collection and what finishes you want on the eyes and things like that. That would determine which one you should get. But I'm happy to have the Pat McGrath one. I'm glad I purchased the Pat McGrath one. Y'all know I'm an avid Pat McGrath collector, so I was gonna have it. The only Mothership I don't have is number 2. I literally have every Mothership except number 2, and I always wait for it to go on sale, and then when it does, it always ends up selling out, so I don't end up getting it. But I'm hoping this year during Black Friday I can get it. But those are my thoughts on the palette, and I'm glad I compared those palettes to show you all. Let me know if you want to just dedicate a video to this palette alone. I'm probably going to film a look just in case, and then I'll give you like a review on it, since it would have been like the, what, like 4th or 5th time I've used the palette from once. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you're all the diamonds. Comment down below and tell me if you want the dedicated review on the Pat McGrath palette, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.